What's going on, YouTube? JCM45 here, bringing you yet another action figure review. Today we're looking at another Figma My Hero Academia figure, Figma number 476, Shoto Todoroki from My Hero Academia. So before we look at the figure itself, as always, we'll take a quick look at the box, and then we'll take a look. So as you can see here, it's the standard Figma My Hero Academia box. This time we get a nice blue color scheme to go with Todoroki's blue uniform and his ice powers, most likely. We got the Figma logo here, the My Hero Academia logo, 476, some more Japanese, a window showcasing the contents of the box, and some warnings. Flipping it over to the side, we have some promo shots of Shoto Todoroki using his hot powers. Flipping it over there, we can see the various poses and accessories Todoroki can get into, as well as some of the faces that come with him. Flipping it over again, we have another promo shot of Todoroki there, looking all cool like he usually does in the show. Flip it over to the top, we have Todoroki using more of his heat powers there. We got the Figma logo, 476, My Hero Academia. And flipping it to the bottom, we have, once again, just the same as the top, except with the barcode. Okay, so let's get this guy open and take a look. Okay, so we got Todoroki out of the packaging, and he's looking pretty good. There's a couple things to talk about, so let's get started. Moving in onto the head sculpt up here, this is one of the things I think Figma did a very good job with. The face and the hair are nicely done. They represent what Shoto looks like in the show quite well, with the half white hair and the half kind of reddish brown hair on his left side, where to represent his hot and cold powers. And then on his face he does have his trademark burn that he received from his father on his eye, so that's pretty good. And that is consistent throughout the entire head, so there's no issues there. Moving on down to his uniform, the striping on his collar is nicely done there, as you can see. It's very cleanly painted. And the rest of his uniform is just kind of a standard blue uniform. There's nothing too special. The sculpting on it is decent. You can see the little zipper there, and you can see the wrinkles. Scrolling on around to his little backpack, you can see the black outlining there on the straps, and then just some kind of gray plastic here for the back. I kind of wish they would have did some black detailing on these parts here, maybe. That would have been nice, but I mean, it's the back, you don't really see the figure from that too much from there. He does have a port there for the included Figma stand. Arms are consistent with the rest of the uniform there until you go down to the lower arms. They are just kind of a pale skin tone there. Those are fine. This crotch piece is a separate kind of piece, which it's okay. I think it kind of gives him a little bit of a diaper look. I really don't like it, honestly. It can get really fiddly, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in articulation. But this is a separate piece, this whole crotch piece here. They did do a good job on the belt, the tan belt here with some black detailing punched in, and then the silver little capsules he's got all around his belt for, I believe they're for ice, his ice powers to freeze things. So those are nicely done. I can't complain about the paint and detailing on those. The only thing I really don't like is this floating piece there. Moving on down, his legs are fine, nothing to really talk about there. They're consistent with the rest of the uniform. And moving on down to the kind of grayish white boots. They have some line work here that's nicely done. And yeah, he's looking pretty good. And as you can see, the soles of his feet are also sculpted, and they are a gray paint job. So that's pretty good. He looks pretty cool. Like I said in previous videos, I do think the Figma figures are the best likeness for the My Hero Academia characters. They just really do look like they jumped right out of the show. It's very nice. So taking a look at articulation, he has some pretty standard Figma articulation. He's not quite as... he doesn't have quite the unique kind of articulation scheme like Kirishima did. So here, we'll take a look. So first of all, we'll take a look at his head. It can spin 360 degrees around, unlike Kirishima, which is nice. It can look up that far. He can look down about that far, which is fine. And he does have some tilt. So his head's just fine there, no complaints. They're moving on down to his torso. Or actually, let's go to the shoulders first. His shoulders are on more of a standard figma ball joint. It's not as open as Kirishima's was, so it can rotate all the way around. He can only arch up about that far, though, which is a little disappointing, but it is what it is. You can, if you fiddle with it, you can kind of move it up and down on the joint there. And it does rotate for a swivel there on the shoulder, just like most of the other Figmas do. His elbows go only about that far. That's a little bit disappointing, not gonna lie. I think they're single jointed elbows, which is why it's like that. And then the sculpt of his uniform doesn't let the arm bend that much. But the wrists here on your standard Figma hinge swivel hinge system, or no, I'm sorry, swivel hinge swivel system, pardon me. And they can do your standard pretty much range of movement. You can make it go up and down, in and out, all sorts of range. So it's good stuff there. Moving on to the torso. His torso here is on a ball joint, and it can twist pretty well. It can tilt very nicely. He can crunch forward about that much. Can arc back about that much, so that's pretty good. His lower torso here, or his lower abdomen here, is also on a joint, so that also aids. So, and you can actually pop that up. This is new for Figma, or new for, not really new for Figma. I'm thinking back, I think Figma Snake had a very similar system where you could kind of make it taller. And that adds quite a bit of range. So you can actually, just moving him at the waist, you can get that much, and then when you add the torso joint there, he can actually arc forward that much, and he can arc back a lot farther there. So that's pretty cool. I think that's why they did this diaper system, kind of, like I was talking about earlier. It was probably to incorporate that, because just thinking about that now, Figma Solid Snake also had the same system, so that's pretty nifty, just to get a little bit extra range there. Moving on down to the hips is where I start to have issues with them, issues with this diaper, because if you pose it in a certain way or whatnot, as you can see here, it can very easily misalign and look all funky. So you have to be kind of careful about how you orient the hips there. I guess it's not that big of a deal, and I guess it's not that big of a complaint now that I really think about what it's for and why it's there, so that's fine. He does have a thigh swivel, so he can twist there, which is nice. He can kick up that far. He can kick back, and just about that far, not very much. He hits the butt a little too much. And then he gets, wow, that's some pretty good spread there, Todoroki. Better than some Spider-Man figures I have. So that's pretty good. And then he does have a boot cut, so you can swivel it. It's a little tight on mine on this one. This one's a little bit better. So there's that. And then you have more of the standard Figma ankle system here, where it doesn't, unlike Kirishima, it doesn't really offer much tilt. You get very little there, which is consistent with more of the early Figmas that I have. I have a couple of the Nintendo ones and a few other ones. And the ankles are a lot more like this than they were Kirishima's. Kirishima's, for whatever reason, can get quite a bit of tilt, which is nice. But in light of that, they can bend back about that far. They can bend up about that far. And then he does have a toe joint. So there is Todoroki's articulation. Next up, we're going to be looking at Shoto's accessories. First up here, we have a separate face. He comes with 3 faces. He comes with a stoic one on the figure, as we originally saw. And this one is a more kind of calm and almost happier kind of face, kind of showing him not his kind of stoic side, which comes out every once in a while. So that's kind of nice to have. And then the second alternate face we get is him gritting his teeth, getting ready to kind of unleash his powers in a fight, so also good to have. Next up we have kind of the standard set of hands that we've been getting with these guys on the standard Figma hand tray. We have a pair of open, flat, splayed out hands there here on the end. In the middle here we have a pair of gripping hands. As you can see, there's a little hole through there so you can grip stuff. I'm not quite sure what he's supposed to grip with the stuff he's got, but that's okay. Options are good. And then we have a set of kind of action, more kind of curled out, splayed out hands. Similar to the ones Kirishima comes with, I believe. And those are all good. Like I said, options are great. And then Todoroki comes with a couple accessories that represent his powers, which is fun. So the first one here we have is a very cool piece of ice with a footprint for kind of to demonstrate him causing his ice to come out of his foot or something like that. And as you can see, it's a nice translucent blue piece of plastic there, and they did a nice job by frosting the ends of the ice there, and I think they did a really, really good job. This looks really nice. Very happy to have that, and I really like the fact that they have a footprint on there for his right foot, that looks like. And you can just kind of stick that on there like so. And he stands on it quite well, so he shows off his powers, which is pretty cool. I like that a lot. Now to show off his other set of powers is this nice orange flame effect that can clip onto his arm. And this is a nice orange translucent piece of plastic, and I do see some color variations. It does seem a little bit lighter here in the middle than it does on the ends, which is cool. And so to show you how to clip that on, we'll show off Todoroki here. You just kind of take it here. This pointier part goes up on the end, and you just kind of line it up. And it's kind of tough for me to see in front of the camera. And you just kind of clip that on. And his powers are showing off. And that's really cool looking. I really like how it's like a fire punch. I really like how that's looking. That's really cool. And then he also comes with the standard Figma stand, as well as the plastic bag that every Figma figure comes with. Next up is size comparisons. And we kind of already looked at this in the last video, but here are all the Figma Class 1A kids, as well as the Amazing Yamaguchi Deku. So we have the Figma Deku, Amazing Yamaguchi, the Figma Todoroki, Figma Kirishima, and the Figma Bakugo. And like I said in my previous video, these four look so nice together. I am really excited for building up the rest of Class 1A. It's going to be cool. And then here is Todoroki with the two All Mights that I have. I've got the Amazing Yamaguchi there on the left, and the McFarlane on the right. And finally, we have Marvel Legends Deadpool and a Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper. So my final thoughts on Todoroki here are, he's okay. He's not a bad figure by any means, but he's fairly standard by Figma standards. There's not really many surprises here with him. I'm a little disappointed with how the diaper works in certain places, with the elbows being kind of limited in range, and then the ankles being that kind of older hinge style Figma joint, which they work, but you don't get as much tilt out of them, which is very unfortunate. Other than that, though, he's pretty decent. Can't really complain too much about anything else. His accessories are really nice. I'm really pleased with the fire and ice effects he came with. And then I think the couple different faces we got were really nice too. So it was really good. Glad to get Todoroki. He's one of the characters I also really enjoy in My Hero Academia, so it's great to have him. and it's great to just keep building up Class 1A, so I hope we get some more figures from Figma and keep going. So stay tuned, Uraraka comes out soon, and I've got a couple more releases coming up, so stay tuned for some more videos. And I hope you liked this one. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what you think, and I'll catch you next time.